What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 30 of On the Floor with Liv and Cor. I'm Cor, that's Liv. You guys, episode 30 is insane. We are no longer in our 20s. We have gone over the hill. Welcome to the 30s, Liv.
30 is going to be my golden birthday next year. So this is our kind of golden birthday preview, so to
Yeah.
speak.
It's also giving me a hairspray vibe of welcome to the 30s. Wow, I'm up. Anyways, we weren't here for musical theater. You're here for gymnastics and us gabbing week after week, and we're happy that you are here. What a weekend of gymnastics. You were busy. I was busy. I had a hype man role. You were the analyst on Fox for the UCLA Michigan State meet. And there was snow all over the country, crazy schedule situations. Judges decided to just write down numbers on a paper, and now here we are, and we're going to discuss it all. So, without further ado, Olivia, what bubbles did you bring to talk about? Because, in the words of Connor Onion, he was wondering what kind of bubbles Michigan State was drinking before the meet. And for us, we're about to show you the bubbles that we are drinking today for episode 30.
Well, as everyone expected, this is sponsored by Crescent Capital. And it is LaCroix Blackberry Cucumber.
That's the best flavor on the market.
Okay, I actually haven't tried it yet because in our office we have two kitchens and one kitchen has more of the like avant-garde flavors and the other one has more of the like lime lemon plain. And every time I go to get one of these, they're gone, which has led me to believe that it is the preferred avant-garde flavor at Crescent Capital. And so I'm incredibly excited. I literally went to the fridge before like 8:30 to get one because I was like, they're going to take it and I want it.
I am so thrilled to welcome the term avant-garde sparkling water into my repertoire.
I mean, yeah.
That's brilliant. That's some brilliant work. A plus.
The packaging is also out of control cute. So,
No,
like that?
no,
Are you
Olivia, I
kidding
mean
me?
it. I mean it. That's the best. That is the best flavor of LaCroix. I could have a gallon of it daily.
Well, what do you have?
Well, that one that the people have seen before. Spindrift lemon.
I do like that one though.
We're just looking for a nice little fresh moment. I'm back in Seattle for a hot second, and I just needed a little like refreshing lemon in my life.
I love that for you.
Yeah, well, let's open these bad boys up and see what your avant-garde does for you for episode 30. Cheers, Liv.
Here's core.
Tell us.
Spectacular. No notes.
No notes.
This is not an SEC 10. This is a 10-10. This is a Kalen Chiu beam 10.
That is in the SEC, but I think, yeah.
Dang it.
I think what she means is
Aye.
yeah, I mean, we can't argue with the Kalen Geo 10. Anyways. But I think what she was trying to say was like, I'm telling you, that
It's
avant-garde,
properly scored.
yeah, that's like a George Washington 10,
Yeah.
right? Everyone's talking about depends on the leotard you wear.
You know what? No, we got to get it in this episode anyway. This is a Helen Who beam 10. That's what it is. Undeniable.
Helen who mention? Check. Love it.
Moving on.
I love it. Okay, Olivia, your Liv's Lips of the Week. It's time. But before
Yes.
it's time for you, I just need the people to know if you didn't see, Olivia sent me a gift. And it was the best thing of my entire life. She sent me a Hype Man success kit for the season with the most thoughtful items in it. One of which was my preferred lips, which is Blistex from Hudson News. She didn't get me one, not two, but three and some Aquaphor to pair with it. So I'm just so thrilled. So thanks for indulging me and providing me success kit for my season. If you want to know more about what's in a hype man success kit, tune into TikTok. And on that, here are Liv's Lips of the Week, episode 30.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't buy the Blistex from Hudson News because I had shipped it to you before I came in encountered a Hudson News, but I'm glad you liked it. So, my Liv's Lips of the Week get brought to you by the dry weather in the Midwest because oof. Jisoo lip oil, and I'm doing it because look, there's barely any left. This is going to be my last usage of this one before I open the backup package that I've had in my drawer for 2 months. You cannot be without Jisoo lip oil. Like I'm literally scooping this out the bottom because I will not let any of it not go unused. I will
Yeah,
not. I refuse. And I'm
this
literally
is
really putting an effort here.
this is incredible. I do have to add one thing. So I was hanging out with Kyla Ross this weekend, and
That's a
we saw
flex.
we saw your video of you applying three different lip gloss tools prior to
Yeah.
the Fox broadcast. And the moment you got to the Dior, she literally audibly gasped and she went, "How is she cross-contaminating Dior with all of the other products?" And I go, I don't know. You're gonna have to take this one up with Liv.
There's something about the Dior, like the color isn't as deep and rich as the NYX. And to be on camera, you have to kind of do a little bit more than you would do normally because you kind of look like a clown in normal life because your everything has to be more defined because the lights will totally destroy you. And so I needed the color of the NYX and the shine of the Dior. But it is true, contaminating Lady Dior with drugstore could potentially be seen as a no-no.
Yeah, it's like cross-pollination, really.
I'm going to give it an exception for Fox Sports,
Amen. Amen.
but
I just loved this like bougie Kyla Ross moment that popped out into no into oblivion. It was incredible.
get you a girl who knows is all I'm
Yeah,
going to.
and she knows.
You
She
know.
knows. All right, you guys, what a weekend. We talked about it a little bit up at the top, but I'm gonna get us started. You know, this winter storm Fern really swept across the United States. States like Illinois, prepared. States like Minnesota, prepared. Michigan, prepared. Now, those states a little bit more south. Chaos. Absolute chaos. And here's the deal. I was in Arkansas this weekend, and the big issue with like weather, like -2 degrees and 12 inches of snow, swiping through Fayetteville, Arkansas, is not the fact that it happens. It's the fact that there's no snowplows. Like they don't
Yeah.
have the infrastructure to be able to like make it functional of sort. So you're asking a lot of people to function in the city, which is why closures or time changes or things start happening. So all that to say, it happened and it was cold and it was chilly, but we at Arkansas had to move our meet up to 1 p.m., 6 hours earlier from a 7:30 start, which from a fan perspective on a work day was not the most ideal situation. But you know what? I still did my opening number to Frozen's Let It Go because the cold never bothered us anyway. And it was so fun. So the snow happened, schedules changed, but there's also some big other elephants in the room we have to talk about this weekend. There was some numbers written on papers that people disagreed with, if you know, if you can see what I'm putting down. Liv, talk to us about some of the judging moments that you saw this past weekend on the interwebs and just on the meets that you watched or even the meet you got to commentate for.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that there's one in particular routine, which is the Lily Peterson bar routine that has been floating. And the other one that kind of emerged is the Chloe LeCourcier floor routine as well. Again, always going to add the disclaimer this has nothing to do with the athletes. They're spectacular and brilliant, and they don't need you to overscore them. I digress. The Lily Peterson bar one really kicked off the weekend in a very aggressive manner because it was mathematically impossible. And I don't want to speak for everyone in the gymnastics world because we all have different views on inflated scoring from like home scoring, or someone I've seen people say things like, I actually think that that should have been lower than what they said, and someone will be like, I think it needs to be higher. We're all entitled to our opinion. That's called subjectivity. But there's nothing subjective about hitting your feet on the floor and not taking the flat deduction that comes with it. And that's 3/10. That is
Correct.
3/10.
Correct.
That's in the code that it is 3/10.
Correct.
So obviously everyone was frustrated about that. She also went for the handstand half turn, and she did a full turn because she was arching over a little too much, which resulted in a full. And then that's what resulted in the feet on the ground, which then got her to that, all that jazz. It's frustrating because Lily Peterson is so talented, and when she does a perfect and excellent routine, she should receive high scores.
Yeah,
She has no built-in deductions. She is a technically sound athlete. And so I can only imagine for her how frustrating that is.
totally.
And obviously it's frustrating for people watching the sport because it legitimately isn't possible. So that one is like that's mathematically impossible. Then you have the Chloe LeCourcier floor routine that was circulating, and that had, two steps on the first pass, which, technically those were large steps. That should have been 2/10. And then you had a Rudy double stag that like flew forward. So that was clearly like a loss of balance and an under rotation and all that jazz. And I think it ended up going in the 9.825 range or something along those lines. And so again, if you're actually taking the two steps, that's 2/10 in itself. And then you haven't even gotten to potential leap deductions or the final pass. And so fans have every right to be frustrated, because how are you supposed to learn, enjoy, and watch when this is what we're getting in week 4? So obviously those were the two that came up very vividly. There were a couple more that happened this weekend. I actually I want to talk about this one that happened when I was on call this weekend. And again, this has nothing to do with the athlete. This is just what I noticed and what happened. Gabby Ortiz from Michigan State. First of all, so proud of her, because I talked a lot about her with Mike Rowe, with the head coach of Michigan State, and was like, okay, she's 4th in the lineup. She was knocking at the door last year. Like, what changed? Because I know she had struggled with her jumps a little bit last year. And Devin Wright, the assistant coach, was like, we just didn't feel comfortable putting her in yet because of the whatever. And I know she competed at nationals and did great. And she's been a rock. They were like, this summer and everything, she put all the work in. She's really been focusing and like dialing in. And this routine she did, and I believe that because she's done routines that were excellent. And this weekend, she did her full in, she landed a little low, and she hopped forward, like 2-foot landing hop forward. So she didn't do a land lunge, she hopped forward, which both feet moved, and it was an under rotation, and there was a little bit of direction on the hop. So, that should be about at least a 10.5, maybe two. And then on the jumps were great, actually. She like over splits her straddle, and it's gorgeous. And then on the last pass, she did the same thing. She went front through double tuck, and she sets her double tuck, like her head looks forward, like she makes eye contact with you before she double tucks, which is just lovely. And same thing, like landed short, hop forward, direction, chest down. So realistically, in my eyes, the maximum score for that routine should have been like a 9.65. And it went like 9.725 maybe. So again, like, it's frustrating and it's hard to describe when you're on call and you're trying to educate people on why a judge would take a deduction or why something would result in a score that was just so low. And then that happens and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And there's, you have to just keep moving because the next routine happens, and that's how it works with TV. But those were 3 that the 2 were very obvious. The Gabby Ortiz one was one I was just it's been in my head because I was the one talking about it. But this week really kick-started the Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs scoring that we all have been dreading. Like, this was the first weekend it was super bad, not just like, come on, it was bad.
Yeah, I think Hurricane or the Winter Storm Fern was like inside of the judges' brains maybe a little bit because it just felt like chaos a bit. I mean, less chaotic for sure, but I do know that there was a moment that unfolded at the Arkansas meet, which I felt like had a ton of judges conferences at it. But one of them was one judge went 9-9, one judge went 9-7, and it was like, ooh, this is a bar routine I'm talking about. And basically what it came down to was in the conference, the judge that went 9-7 was like, did you hear or see that her toes hit the bar, the low bar on the Van Leeuwen, which is a 2/10 deduction, which means that their scores would have been identical. And the one judge that went 9-9 did not see that that had happened. And so if you take the 2/10 deduction, then you should have come down to a 9-7, and then they would have been the same. So they reflashed the scores. One judge goes 9-7. One judge that was at 9-8 is now or that was at 9-9 is now at 9-8, which means that then she thought that she could go at 10.
That makes no
Anyways,
sense.
it makes no sense. But then the meet goes on, and you're just kind of like that. They flash their scores again, and this is what they heard in that moment. And like I think the storm was getting to everyone. So all that to say, it was kind of a wild week. We just wanted to talk about this because a lot of chatter started up about scoring again, and we wanted to bring that up. On the positive note about scoring, yeah, wait, what were you gonna say?
I have one more thing because we just mentioned only underscoring, and I want to acknowledge, excuse me, we just mentioned overscoring. I want to acknowledge underscoring as well
Mm,
because we all saw the brilliance of Kaylin Chiu's 10 on beam. It was a 10-10. It was stunning.
mm,
Connor, Connor's routine right before her
was a 10.
was a 10. And so, this is a two-way street when you talk about like if you don't see anything wrong with the routine, why are you going 995? Did you make up a half 10?
Yeah,
Did you decide that all of a sudden her releve wasn't high enough? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. And so to play devil's advocate, there's two sides of this that are errors, and it's the over and the under. Because
yeah.
then you have a Connor McLean who deserved that 10. They did deserve to go 10-10.
Yeah, I
Two
mean,
of
we've
them.
been talking about scores that have we feel have been underscored that are almost to tens as well. Like, right, we talk about the Jocelyn Robertson beam situation, three straight 995s. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Like, there are people who have been scoring lower than, what I think that they deserve. And we have a pretty technical eye, I would say. I mean, that's kind of where I was gonna go was I do want to celebrate something in the scoring world that like I'm so jazzed about for this season, and that's our dear friend Scott Bregman's new scoring platform called FanScore. So I finally got the chance to be a fan and actually participate in it during the um, UCLA versus Michigan State meet that happened on Sunday. And you guys, it's so fun. It's so fun. It's like it's exhilarating. There's a rush about it. Like I will tell you, it's very hard to live tweet fan score and watch gymnastics all at the same time. Really difficult. Everyone should try it. Um, but the platform that Scott has created is so cool. For those of you that don't know, basically, you can hop into the link. He starts it live with only particular meets that are happening. Um, you opt in. You have to create an account if you don't already have an account. You can add friends on it. It's so fun to get to see like what scores your friends are adding when you submit your score. And in real time, as the meet progresses, you submit the score you think a routine gets, and then the actual judges score pops up, and you can see how far away you are on these scores. So not only is it fun and you get to like submit your scores and you get to see all the people participating. I mean, on Sunday when I was doing it, there was over 220 people participating. And Scott even told me today over 700 people have signed up to participate in general. Like he has 700 users in the platform. Insane, so fun. But there's also some really great data that can be collected from this, right? Now, I was talking to someone else about this, or another random fan. And the cool part about fan scoring is like, yeah, I think that there's this natural inclination of like, if you don't know about judging or you don't know about how to judge a routine, you're probably not participating in fan scoring, to be honest with you. Like, you're not just going in there and like willy-nilly being like, oh, I think that deserves a 995. Everything looks great to me when like they fall, right? Like, I don't think that person is participating in the data that's being collected. But I do think that like the people that are participating are actually quite accurate in like the judgment calls of the scores that are going up. But I want to share one example with you before we move on to the next thing, is myself being a gymnastics fan around the sport. I know a fair bit about judging and about deductions and things of that nature. I did find myself getting stuck on one particular routine during MSU UCLA, and that was Kayla Tucker's bar routine. So if you watched Kayla Tucker's bar routine, she ended up doing some extra back swings and then put like kind of positioned her hips up on the high bar and took a pause as like a rhythm deduction. And in the moment of having 45 seconds to come up with a score, in that moment, I was kind of panicking of like taking the deductions that were necessary, trying to figure out how many tenths is an extra swing. What do you take for the rhythm deduction? Is there a broken connection that causes an up to the level? And I panicked and I ended up submitting a 9525 score when like there was no way that that was going to be a 9525, but it was because the countdown was there and I was rushing and I was just trying to be like submit something. And that's why I only had a 74% accuracy rate on my fan score percentage, which I did feel really good about. But that Kayla Tucker one really took it out of me. All of this to say, there's a lot that happens in a moment of scoring that I started to feel that pressure a bit in that moment. And so I'm not trying to like say that judges need to like we need to take the pressure off of judges. I'm a fan of judges being accurate. That's what I'm a fan of. I want systems, I want control, I don't want punishment per se, but I want things to be accurate. And I'm going to be an advocate for programs like fan score or even like I know the scoreboard that still exists on the backside of like judges evaluations and things of that sort. I'm going to continue to posture and position us to continue to get scores to be as accurate as they possibly can be for our sport in general, because I think that that's what's fair to the athletes, it's what's fair to the team, that's what's fair to the entire sport as an NCAA sport. So I just kind of wanted to say that as well as promote our friend Scott's new fan scoring site. It's free. Go and
I
participate. Add us as friends.
I think that's such a good call out though, because yes, we can all complain about judging and we can all acknowledge that there's an issue, but we can also see the struggle in that moment of needing to be as educated as possible on what you need to do and what you need to take. And so I think that's a really good call out. The only other thing I'll say is if you're listening to this podcast and you are in the bucket of what Corey mentioned, I talked to I called them caught. I just called them caught. I was about to say, I talk to Scott and Corey a lot. I talk to Cott a lot,
Yeah, I mean, it is a group chat at this point.
which is why I'm confusing their names. They're blonde, they're cute, they're adorable. They know gymnastics. I digress. um, what Corey mentioned in the subset of people that maybe wouldn't do it because they don't know scoring as well, I'm going to use my good dear friend Nora Day as an example. Nora grew up like coming to meets of mine. We've known each other since we were babies, and she's really gotten into gymnastics the last 2 years, and she started doing it. And she told me she's paying more attention to the actual gymnastics and thinking in her head, oh, that was a little bobble, and listening to kind of what the commentator might say and whatever, and go, oh, I would have, that looks like a half tenth or whatever. And she's been pretty accurate on fan score. So if you're in the bucket of people who feels uncomfortable or perhaps not, that you don't feel you're educated enough, I still encourage you to give it a try and see how it goes. Even if you do it for one rotation, you might surprise yourself at what you learn by looking at it in a different lens. And
Mhm.
it might not feel as overwhelming as a new gymnastics fan, and you might find yourself learning quicker. So I encourage that.
I love it. I love it. It's so fun. I mean, do it, try it. Okay, some other high level notes we wanted to talk about before we get to our top routines in all of the events of this past week. You guys, Michigan State set a new attendance record, and it looked so good on camera. When I was watching at home, the Breslin Center, they went to the Breslin Center, which is not where they normally compete, but they packed it out. And yes, there was snow on the ground, and it was a wintry day, but they packed it out. Over 9,800 people attended that gymnastics meet. And I believe, Olivia, you were telling me something about no-show tickets. Like, what was the deal with what they did with those?
Yeah, so apparently, from what I heard, there were 2,000 tickets that were sold that did not show up because of potentially weather or whatever, just plans change. So that means that there could have been close to 12,000 people at Breslin to watch Michigan State. And I know what they did. This was only the second time that Michigan State had the chance to compete at Breslin. I think they could prove their point that they should be competing in an arena that seats more people. But I know they also moved some bleacher seats down onto the floor as well, where before it was just like a bowl.
Hmm.
And that allowed for a little bit more, like, fan intimacy, like you were closer to
Yeah.
people, and that's more comfortable for them that they have at Jennison. And the athletes had said to me, like, they really liked that. And that also gave more room for seats.
Yeah.
And that was where a lot of the alums and the parents were sitting, which was really
Oh,
sweet. But can
cool.
you just, I mean, they pretty much almost 10,000 in that weather. And then could have been 12. And yes, you guys, UCLA was there. There's a Jordan Childs effect.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It means people are going to watch gymnastics, and that is awesome. So shout out Michigan State. Breslin looked gorgeous. The layout was awesome. And I just think it's a proof point that they deserve a space that can seat more people because people want to watch them.
It's amazing. It was so, so, so cool to see. Another big note, Penn State popped off this weekend. Third highest score in their program history with a 197.25. They were against Maryland. If you go and look across their entire stat line, like they had great event scores, obviously, to get over 197. But well done, Penn State. We needed to mention this because I feel like with the hustle and the bustle of the snow and the schedules and the meet on Fox and a lot of great news and notes happening all around the country, this one got a little bit lost in the shuffle, but it needs to be louder because it was a great job well done.
That's one I need to go back and watch. I did not have the chance to watch that meet this weekend, but that is on my short list of meets that I need to run back and watch. So I'm excited, but I've seen some great highlights from that competition from both Maryland and Penn State. So it'll be a good one to watch.
Yeah, I love it. And then our last one, we have an honorable mention before we get into our top routines. Honorable mention from a star at the University of Kentucky. Olivia, tell everyone about Delaney Rodriguez.
We just have to talk about her because Delaney, I believe, was a freshman last year.
I'll verify.
Thank you. She was either a freshman or sophomore last year. So again, she's not a senior, most certainly. And Delaney Rodriguez, I kid you not, has nerves of steel. She is a rock for Kentucky. And we would be remiss to not, like, again, elephant in the room. Kentucky's having a little bit of a harder season this year than they had in the past. We know Creslin Brose is coming back. She did her first floor routine this past weekend after being released from concussion protocol. So they haven't been at full capacity, but we have to give credit where credit is due, and that is to Miss Delaney Rodriguez because she has been really a standard, static, like solid component of every lineup for them this entire season so far, and she just deserves flowers.
Yeah, she is indeed. She's a junior, so
She's a junior.
last year sophomore season. And as I looked this up, like her personal best, so good, 39.525 in the all around. Her lowest personal best event is vault with a 985, but then she has a 995 on bars, 9925 beam, and 9925 on floor. Like a steady Eddie of sort. And it's I could tell that too. I'll admit there was this funny moment I was walking through in between corrals at the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad, and rolls off the tongue. And and Delaney was like over on a panel mat trying to like warm up for beam. And she did one of those things where like crazy hype man Corey is like trying to walk by and she's like, I know that he's about to walk by, so I'm not gonna do anything, but I'm just gonna like stare at him over my right shoulder. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And she goes, No, no, you're fine. Honestly, I just like watching do your thing, but I gotta focus on beam. And I was like, okay, respect. Okay, go get him, girl. And I gave her a high five. But it was good. But I'm glad we got to mention her here because she is really crushing it. And in the midst of Kentucky having a rough patch right now, I think that Delaney is a bright spot for them right now. And it's awesome to see her put in that work for sure.
My side note for you, Corey, is I think you need to start writing down these exclusive experiences you have with athletes on the floor that no one else gets because
Oh,
you're just running around and hyping. Like this is a perfect example, or the one you told us about of Sophia Bell when you were hyping at Arkansas and she did her double twisting Yurchenko and you like walked over and you were like, that was awesome.
I
And
was
she
like,
was
that
like,
was so cool.
that was so cool. And she was like, ah, like you really should keep track of these because they're hilarious.
Well, thank you. Thank you. On that note, while you were saying that, one that I should probably write down was the moment that happened when Jordan Childs was sitting in the audience at the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad rolls off the
Rolls
tongue.
off the tongue.
And there UCLA was watching the first two rotations of the second session before they went to the airport. And randomly Jordan Childs like shouted at me like while I was running around and she was like, "What's your swig order?" And I was like, "Moi?" And and I was like, "I've never been to Swig. Like I just I've never experienced it before." And she was like, "What are you even talking about?" And if you know Dancing with the Stars lore, the Dancing with the Stars people know Swig. They know it. And now Jordan Childs knows it. And she was like getting ready to order me delivered Swig to have it delivered so I could try it. And I was like, please don't try that. Please, no, we don't need that. But the end result of this conversation is that I did try Swig. It's going to be on my TikTok later this week. I have a full review and I really, really loved it. Anyways, let's move
I'm
on.
putting together a new segment for you, Corey.
Corey's Swig word of the week.
Cordy. Well, yeah. I can't say anyone's name today. I just
Oh,
called you Cordy.
Cordy. Oh no, you're talking about my like little nuggets of the, yeah. Oh, that would be fun. I have a lot of
Nuggets of
them,
the
to be
week.
honest.
I know you do. They're so funny.
Like when Jade Carey told me how to tie my shoes at nationals.
Also a classic.
If you didn't know, I tied my shoes in two different ways on one on each shoe at the national championship last year.
You made it through though.
I did.
Let's run
Okay.
over to Vault.
Okay. Before, Olivia, you did two things that absolutely had me dying of laughter during the meet. Okay. Two things where Olivia brought into the fold on the floor with Liv and Cor terminology, and it had me cackling, cackling. Number one was when you called out Olympic order. She was talking about the order of the rotation for Michigan State as the home team and UCLA as the away team, and she threw down the Olympic order, and I squealed. I cackled so loud, so loud. Kyla did not know what to do with me in that moment, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing." Number two was when you said, "Let's swing on over to bars." I was beside myself. I was absolutely beside myself.
You know, you always want to remain professional on broadcasts and you want to, you're on national television. You need to be mindful of that. But you gotta have fun with it.
And you did.
I saw my opportunity and I capitalized.
This one's for Cordy
Cordy and Cot.
and got. Okay, but with that, let's punch on over to Vault.
I don't like it, but we can work on that.
All right. Olivia, let's talk about Vault. This week was there were some great vaults that were thrown down, but give us your top vaults of this week, and I'll throw in mine along the way.
Okay, so we have to mention Jordan first. Back to back. stuck double twisting your Chenkos. I said it on the broadcast and I stand by it. The one she did this weekend was better than the 10 the weekend before. The
I
chest
agree.
landed up. It
I
landed
agree.
up. And it's funny because after the meet, I was walking around and I was talking to some of the coaches and whatever. And I said to Janelle McDonald, the head coach of UCLA, I was like, you see a little bit of cross in a side angle. And Janelle was like, yeah, but the judges can't see that. And I was like, that's right. She's right. She's right. Because the side view, you can't see that. So that's another angle of judging that when you get down the line and there's six judges and there's panels and that's when these things come to fruition. But regardless, that was also in super slow-mo, by the way. I was watching that in super slow-mo when I said that. It was stunning. It had higher pop than last week. Chest was up. It was beautiful. I was just impressed.
Yeah. No,
Beyond.
that was on my list as well. So well done, Jordan.
In the same meet, I do also want to mention a stick that was great, and that's Katie Duplessis from Michigan State. I saw her do a couple in warm up, and I saw a few Spartans stick in warm up, and I was like, ooh, we're in for a wild ride. And they had a little extra juice in the meet. But what Katie did really well is she did not stick in warm up. She did a little step forward, one had a little step backward. She was very calculated and then just absolutely drilled it in the meet. It was lovely. And I'm just so happy for her because I think she is critical for them this year. She really is. And it was so awesome to see her have that moment. I was so happy for her.
I love it. I love it. Okay, one that I wanted to mention was I had to say it. Kaylin Chio, 995. 995 on vault. And honestly, I'm at this point where the moment she's standing at the end of the runway and starts running, I'm just going to be like, okay, just count the 995 score or the 10 score. Like it's just one in the bag. And for a coaching staff to be able to have that confidence and the team to have that kind of confidence in one of your vaulters, incredible. Always love watching Kaylin. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was Oklahoma's vault rotation. Um, it is a record for this season so far. They went 49,625 on vault. And in the era where we're hunting down 10 start value vaults and trying to make them as perfect as possible, it's a stacked lineup of vaults. And as everyone knows, with the 8 incher in the sky during warm up and all of the things that they do, a stick is expected of the Oklahoma gymnastics team. But I do want to take a moment just to admire the shapes and the technique, the technical aspects of their vaults, because all of them are absolutely beautiful. Like if you just take the landings away, you're watching works of art like fly through the air, and it's so amazing. So I had to shout out Oklahoma vault.
I would love to sit in on a Lou Ball vault practice. I really feel like it would be a master class.
Totally. I
I
can
I would
I
love that.
agree. Do you have any more?
I have an honorable mention, and that goes to Miss Connor McLean for her first ever collegiate vault at LSU. She did a full. I know we've seen footage of her doing a double in the gym, but the full was high. It was beautiful. I'm just so happy for her. She
Yeah.
like has been such a staple in three events for them, and so to see her do that was awesome. So major shout out to her.
I love that. And I have an honorable mention as well because we had been mentioning Ayla Acevedo from Missouri on floor, but for some reason it caught my eye this past week. She's in the vault lineup and she did a gorgeous vault. It went 9-8, but I just needed it to be known that it was very exciting to see Ayla Acevedo in the vault lineup. And I'm just like pumped on her. I think it's a storyline, a person that I just want to know more about because I am fascinated and really here for it. So those are our vaults of this week.
Can I swing over to bars and take it away?
I knew you were gonna say it. Go for it.
Okay. We are going to begin with Sienna Alipio, not just a beam specialist. Homegirl added in bars and floor this weekend. Her first time ever in the bar lineup. She's done exhibitions. first time ever. Not only did she make her uneven bars debut, she had to go after a very uncharacteristic mistake from Caitlin Rosen. And Caitlin Rosen is like the queen of the leadoff. You rely on her, you know she's going to hit. And Sienna had to change the energy after that mistake happened. So she's making her competitive bar debut in college as a senior, and she's going after a fall. Like, hello. And she slays. Absolutely slays, sticks her landing. She does a blind full into a toe on front tuck half. That's a lot of moving pieces in one place and a lot of room for error. And she executes it so well. And when she stuck that landing, that's the highest I've ever seen Janelle jump. No joke. Like, so happy. And it's just beyond deserved. Like, ugh, that is my first one. It brought me so much joy watching that.
I love it. I love it. Share your whole list. I'm curious.
Okay, my other one is Riley's 9975. When you're talking about a masterclass in shapes, the way she does Stalders is so lovely. The height she gets on any release move is just pristine. It's perfect. It floats. And it's so lovely to see her as well just get more comfortable with the dismount because back in the day, the first half of the routine was all pretty close to flawless every single time.
Totally.
And the stalled her into the double tuck is where she had some issues. And
Yeah,
so it's awesome to see her really dial it in, nail it. I just love that.
I love
And
it.
my last one, I
Yeah.
have to say, have you seen all of the stuff going on the internet about when when Sky Blakely goes into her eagle grip and the fans behind her at Auburn make like the face of just like utter shock at what she's doing. It's so funny. There's like a zoom in on her hands and it zooms in on like the toe on into the eagle. And the fans in the background are like this and they're like jumping and they're like mouth agape at it. It's so funny. And it just reminds you of how insane women's gymnastics is and how insane eagle grip is in general. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're literally like twisting your arms and it's the shoulder flexibility is out of control. And I will put Sky Blakely's bars on my top three legitimately every week, but I had to specifically mention that because it was hilarious and so
I
funny.
had not seen that video, and I need to watch it, but I really thought this whole time when you were talking about it that they were gonna make some sort of w War Eagle joke because
Oh,
Auburn is War Eagle, and then she went into Eagle Grip, but it wasn't as an educated fan moment. It was more of like a shock and awe of how crazy our sport is moment, which
I don't know if the gymnasties know the terminology. I don't want to,
maybe.
maybe they do, and I'm not going to take that away from them. But the reactions were like the judge when Michaela Maroney stuck her vault in London. That's
Period.
the face they were giving,
Okay,
and we
period.
all know that face.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, I had three people on my bar list, and one of them was Riley McCusker. So you took that one. Love, 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 love. That Stalder. Hello. Um, the second one is Chloe Cho. So Chloe Cho from the University of Illinois is currently tied for second in the country on bars with Riley McCusker after she has thrown down three total scores on bars this season, two 995s and one 99 score, and it has put her in the second place position in the entire country. I mean, Chloe Cho, she's getting it done. She's finding those landings, she's making it happen, and well deserved for her. And my last one is going to the top bar worker in the country. Last week we mentioned her. She went 9975 on bars against Clemson. This is Chloe LaCourcier of the University of Alabama. You know what? Toes glued together, knees glued together, great lines and like on the bar. She works the bar really well, nice positions out of all of her release moves, and finds that landing to a good landing position. I'm like, if she just can like find that rhythm and be able to do that over and over and over again, like she's gonna like stay at that top spot. And she's definitely in contention for the national championship on bars, 100%.
And remember, Corey, last year before nationals, we talked to her on the floor with Liv and Cor, and she mentioned that she was having some mental blocks with bars. So not only is she the number one bar worker in the country and has back-to-back near perfect scores, she's also an athlete that's overcome some mental struggles with the event. So if there's any younger athletes out there who are struggling with put some potential mental blocks or not feeling comfortable, like it's totally possible to work through it and get over it. And Chloe is a perfect example of that.
Totally. And for the super fans out there, yes, Chloe LaCourcier is the one who did the full twisting Nabieva in routine footage from her training in her club gym. That is her. All right, let's balance on over to Beam, if you will. And let's get started. I'm going to take the beginning of this one.
Oh,
Is that okay?
sure.
I'm getting started with the 9925 from the stuck double tuck queen herself, Nikki Smith. You guys, it was amazing. And I'll admit, I'm not 100% confident that Nikki Smith is going to stick that double tuck every single time. It's not like a Kaylin Chio stuck vault moment, but there is something that I build confidence from when she is rock solid in every skill leading up to that dismount. And I felt that from her. I felt confident. I felt grit. I felt the like just fierce attitude that she was presenting, attacking that beam routine. And it was amazing. 9925 from the Queen, Nikki Smith. Nice work. Um, Up second, I have Addison Lawrence, the new Helen Hu, if you will, her very own. She's her own person, but she is absolutely the new Helen Hu. Anchoring the balance beam lineup for the University of Missouri. She just got her third straight 995. I know. It's so good. And talking about third straight 995, I got to throw in the other one. Jocelyn Robertson, Helen Huing at the University of Arkansas. She is finishing the Arkansas, anchoring the Arkansas beam lineup, and she has also gotten three straight 995s. I will say, arguably, one or two of those could have been tens. But I'm just like so pumped for these beam queens anchoring these lineups because, well, they're balancing the beam.
Honestly, at this point, we're going to have to use Helen Huing in a sentence because there's two different definitions. There's Helen Huing by taking a year off and returning, and there's Helen Huing by slaying beam. So we
Period.
now not only have Helen Huing as a verb, but we need to identify the exact definition we are using Helen Huing in. Did you ever think we'd get to this point?
No, it's a synonym and a verb.
I mean, my God.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I know I probably stole some of your beam ones, but like, who else do you got?
You know what? You didn't, which is crazy. Okay, we talked about it earlier. Kaylin Chio 10. You guys, it was a 10. It was. There was nothing wrong with it. It was absolutely gorgeous. She is a superstar. I don't have anything else to say because just watch the routine and you'll agree. My second one goes to another athlete who I believe is super on 10 watch this year, and that's Kaylee Boozer from the University of Michigan. I had the
Totally.
lovely joy of getting to go back to my alma mater this weekend for our Flip for Chip meet, so I can call it our as an alum in this instance. And it was so much fun being back. Watching Kaylee Boozer in person on Beam is a religious experience. It was just gorgeous. She works Beam like none other. That routine will get a 10 in her career. I am most certain of it. She is so talented. And my final one is the freshman Lilia Kosman from Michigan State University. So there was a fall from Biz Trostel on her Anodi, which killed me because that Anodi is just to die for
I
in the
know.
fifth spot. And fifth or fourth or fifth spot, I digress. They needed a hit in order for them to still, not count a fall. And Lilia is the anchor and she's a freshman. So, it comes up in our coaches call this week with Mike Rowe last week for the meet. And he was like, it was so amazing. She's our first ever Olympian at the program. And she led off beam for Romania at the Olympics on their first event of the Olympics. I was like, well, that tells you all you need to know right there. Leading off beam first event at the Olympics. And when I had that information in the back of my head and I knew she was going, I was like, oh, she's solid. She totally got this. So yeah, she got it. And then she death dropped at the end. And I needed to excuse myself from the booth. I was laughing so hard, but also was just like, Queen! Like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, yeah. She's I'm in my head right now a little bit because having pieces of information like you just shared, like Mike Rowe shared with you about first up at the Olympics for Romania, that's not information that like anyone except for like super gym nerd fans like really has at their fingertips. But it's so cool that you're able to like have that in your mind as you're navigating broadcasting commentary, but also as we like continue to promote the stories of these student athletes in our sport. So I don't know. I was just thinking about that because it's so cool to like hear little connection points, like bridges between moments in athletes' careers that are not just the campus that they're competing on right now, but really like this bigger picture of where they've been, what they've done, and who they are as an athlete, but also the things that they've done outside of the sport that like make them to be great humans. So, anyways, that was really deep, but I
I
just
need no, that's good. I need to do a better job of like, obviously I take my job very seriously, and if a coach tells me something on a call that I'm not going to share, they don't want me to share, I will not share it. That is, I respect the coaches and the athletes and their privacy way too much. But when there are things like that, what I just heard and told you about the micro comment, I should share those more because I do think that that's information that's really interesting and unique and helps us all understand the sport better. So, mental note for Olivia to share some of those with you guys as they come up in my conversations.
you have a very difficult job in commentating these routines, but those pieces of information are like so cool to know for sure.
Yeah.
So, so cool. Okay, what are we doing to floor?
We're
You have it
tumbling.
like
We're
we're what?
leaping, dancing, tumbling. I don't know what we're doing, but it's the last event, so we're having a party.
Okay, floor party time. Okay, you get us started with your picks for floor.
Okay, so my first one is the cat, 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 cat. And I know there's a lot of cats, but I'm talking about the University of Arizona. And I'm talking about them because so when I did my draft this year for fantasy, yes, I do fantasy. Hee hee. I had one more person I needed to draft, and I had a list of people and whatever, and someone else in the league was like, "You should take Abby Martin from Arizona." And I was like, I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about her. So I took her on my team, looked her up and whatever, and I was like, oh, yeah, she's an all arounder. She's solid. Great. But no, 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 she's not just an all arounder and solid. She went like 39, 4, 5, or 5 this week, 995 on floor, career high. I was like, sister, she's so good, super underrated. So that was like such an awesome thing for me to learn because I don't cover their team. And so I got to learn about a new athlete that I really enjoy and love. So my first one is her 995 career high because, wow. Speaking of career highs, Maryland, the Terps, program record on
I don't know
program
if this is
record.
I don't know if this is a hand motion for Maryland Terrapins, but I think it should be.
Well, we all know my mom is listening and my mom loves terrapins. So Maryland, 49, I think it was 49,575 program record. They had two 9,975s, one from the great Maddie Komarovsky, whom I just, love. That ring jump is put it on my tombstone. And so just so like so beyond exciting for them. They are you guys know how we feel about Maryland. We love Maryland just so much. And you have to give the final one to Ms. Childs. It was very cool to be on call for that routine. I am lucky every time I have the opportunity to call routines that will go down in history with tens, and this was one of those. And so just a cool moment, not to make it about myself because it's totally about her, but I felt super cool about it, but also just so happy for her, and that routine was awesome.
Well, you stole that one from me, but that was a very obvious one. And that's fine. That's fine. But I'm also going to start with a cat, 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 cat. over at the University of Kentucky because this past weekend we got to see Creslin Rose debut her floor routine for this season after she came out of concussion protocol, and she threw down a 9-9 debut nonetheless. So Creslin, it was so fun to see you back out there. Nice work. We love seeing you do gymnastics. And my last and final top anything on floor of the week is going to the floor exercise coach and choreographer at the University of Missouri, and that is our dear friend Jackie Turpacki. That's not her real last name, it's Turpak, but that's what we call her. Okay, a couple things. Number one, her fashion unmatched. I don't know if you guys have been following, but she's been doing some like outfits of the meat kind of dealios. She's finding things that have Nike logos on them that I didn't know could have a Nike logo on them because they look so high fashion. Um, we see leather, we see white, we see black, we see tiger pants, we see rhinestones, we see it all. And she is serving these looks like none other. But I digress. On floor, we are seeing some of the most incredible, story-driven, heartfelt, passionate choreography that I'm seeing in the entire country from the Missouri Tigers. And that is all from the brainchild, the inspiration, wherever she finds inspiration from Jackie, working with these athletes and finding ways to emote, to present the artistry, to do all of these things to really allow these routines to come to life. And I am loving it. So we're giving flowers where flowers are due. And Jackie Turpak, you are crushing it on floor with your team and the Missouri Tigers this season. So that's been so fun to watch. All right. So
Those were
do you
so
have any other
good.
notes from this week?
Gosh, I mean, I probably do. I know that oh, I remembered. There is one thing that I do want to mention that I'm adding to my floor list.
Okay.
And we talked about the Penn State Maryland meet. Have you seen Alyssa Kramer's Rudy layout step out? She's from Penn State University. I think this is my top Rudy layout step out. I think it is.
Oh,
That's a bold statement, but
yes.
I think it is. She does like her layout's like 2 feet, and then she does the split right at the end.
Mm.
Yeah, it's super wicked. I highly recommend watching.
Did you just say wicked? Um,
Good news.
news. You thought you got away with all of our wicked stuff back in the fall, but it's back.
We got a lot of good on the floor lingo in here. We got Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad. We got
Grandoise.
Grandoise, Helen Hooing. It can be numerous different things.
Yeah.
And Wicked.
And wicked. And wicked.
Oh.
Also, just we're gonna cap this one off with a clapback to something, a new segment suggestion that Olivia had earlier in this episode, which was, what are we gonna call it? The little core
Uh, yeah, it's like Corey's on
on
the
the
floor with Core. I mean, pretty much.
uh, core on the floor.
There we go.
Core
Let's
on the
just keep it in the family.
Okay, we're gonna call it the core on the floor moments. This one I'm gonna finish with today. As you were talking about the University of Maryland, popped into my mind, and you were actually present for this one, which was last year at Big Tens. We found out that the University of Maryland was gonna debut a new leotard. We did, and we were so excited about it. And what the people don't know is that head coach Brett Nelligan actually asked Olivia and I to reveal this new leotard, to which I quickly had to say no and pass on the opportunity because it was asked of me to wear the leotard to reveal it to the team. And I said no, and I let their team not be scarred by that visual. But that was a secret moment that did happen behind the scenes on the floor with Core.
I do recall that. And I don't recall you saying no fast. I recall you thinking
Anything for the athletes, you know what I'm saying?
anything for the athlete.
Anything. I think my next was like, does anyone have some board shorts I could wear? No Nike Pros. I need some board shorts, please. Yeah,
Stop, I can't.
I know. Well, you guys, that was awesome. Week 4. What do you know? Week 4.
Corey, are you doing anything this weekend? What's your week 5 plans?
Week 5 plans are to watch a lot of gymnastics at home. I have the weekend off before I head back to the University of Arkansas next week against Georgia, which will be very fun. But I do get to go to a club gymnastics meet literally across the street from my condo here in Seattle, and I get to go watch 4 days of club gymnasts. 5 days, actually.
That's a lot of gymnastics.
4 days. Thursday to Sunday. Yeah, Thursday, the 4 days. Yeah.
Well, you're getting your gymnastics fix.
Yes, I am. I can't wait. It's going to be so fun.
I love that for you.
What are you doing this weekend?
I am covering Michigan State University at University of Michigan on the Big Ten Network on Sunday. So
Fun.
I will be on call for that competition, and I'm excited. I just obviously called Michigan State last week, so it's nice to have them fresh in my brain, and I'm just excited. I'm my weekends are getting busy, so
Love
I'm
it.
keeping it rolling.
I love it. I love it. Well, that will be so fun, and I cannot wait to watch that meet. That'll be fun. Michigan State's always a great meet.
I know. I love it. It's the fans and the crowd's always so great because they're so close,
Yeah,
only about an hour away. So I'm hoping for a really great environment and the athletes just have a ton of fun.
I love it. I love it. All right, everyone. Well, with that, we hope you guys have a wonderful weekend ahead of you. And that, as always, put in some comments. Let us know what you want to hear about. We are gonna kind of structure these episodes very similarly to the way that we did today, have some top moments, but we'd love to draw from some of the top moments that you guys are feeling as well. As you have probably seen, we also have Instagram and TikTok accounts. Send us a message. We love to hear your feedback. And many of you sent some great feedback last year of or last week of great pronunciation mishaps. We love it all, and we want to be able to present the best that we possibly can to you. So we are excited. We love the momentum we're feeling from you, the excitement, the community that we have here, and it's been so fun. Again, we're just here to gab to each other. This is kind of like our hour catch up of the week about gymnastics before we finish recording this episode, and then we catch up about life for the next hour. But we won't spare you that moment, and we will hop off. And with that, we hope you guys have a great weekend, and with we will talk to you on the flip flop later. Bye.